February.
I hope he doesn't get picked captain, Russ.
Yeah.
And then they pick him like 5th in the thing, and then in a game in March, he shows up to the arena just dressed like a fucking gigantic 5.
I do think that. I think that we'll start to see some guys being a little bit more chippy about the Warriors this year.
Absolutely.
You know, their like legacies are on the line, their careers. They're gonna be like a footnote to the Warriors dynasty. Like, nobody's gonna want to do that.
This is like Melo's last chance.
Yeah.
I think to
For
your
people to
point,
remember
though,
well.
like the fact that there are more super teams, I think that's just going to lead to higher tension. Like the games are going to matter more between these like sort of teams instead of like when you're playing, I don't know, the Sixers on a day off perhaps, and like Markelle Fultz isn't playing and Joel Embiid isn't playing. Not that much of a big deal, but like when you're going, it's Warriors, Thunder, and everybody's waiting for that game. When you have like the cupcake background and all that stuff, like these games are going to be high intensity.
When Cavs play the Boston on opening night, it's going to be like everybody who's not going to be watching like, oh, how are people adapting to Brad Stevens' offense, or like what are the new look Cavs? They're going to be like, what is LeBron? Every single second of LeBron's body language with Kyrie.
Well, that's the truest beef in the NBA.
Kyrie.
Right. Kyrie and LeBron. It's
like,
so
and they
good.
can barely hide it. Yeah.
Is it bigger? Is it bigger than Westbrook and Durant?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Westbrook and Durant secretly have had a couple of like day talent meetings, but I don't think Kyrie and Russ.
Well, I mean, Paul George was talking about
LeBron.
how Russ and KD are still buddies, quote unquote, like in July.
I don't know how anybody likes Kyrie Irving.
I don't either.
Like, how do you even have a conversation with
with
this
somebody who all day long is like, I love Kyrie Irving now.
It's new, guys. It's a new love. I'm still in the honeymoon phase, okay?
He's like, at one time he's talking about like the earth is flat, and then he's like backtracking it, and even while doing that sounds kind of like an asshole.
He admitted that he doesn't actually think that, just for the record.
I know, he did say that, but while saying that, I only have more questions about like what he thinks about anything. I can't trust him.
Do you want me to try to defend him? Like, is that what you're asking for?
Go for it.
Defend him, Juliet. I'm on your side.
What?
I'm pro Kyrie.
Yeah, man.
Out on this dude.
This is ridiculous.
He's really exciting to watch.
Correct.
He's like fine to
Yes.
watch.
That's incredible, Chris.
No, he's
that's
exciting.
ridiculous.
I mean, like, come on. There are few people that finish, maybe no one
He's
that
the most
finishes
exciting.
around the hoop better than he does,
He's the
or at
most
least makes it look as entertaining.
He's the most exciting one-on-one player, I think. Like, there's just he's not like afraid of anyone. He's very good as Uncle Drew.
Some science.
I also like let's be combative with the media. That's fun. Like, that's entertaining.
He's not being combative. He's being like, oh, I think I know everything. Like,
aggressive.
he's like, I'm gonna play like a crazy like edgelord troll prank on you guys about like whether or not I actually think the world is flat. And it's just like, dude, like, don't do it to the media. Like, actual children listen to you and like think that the world is flat when you say it.
So would you prefer Gordon Hayward? Would you prefer just
There's more than one. It's not a binary. I don't have to have Gordon Hayward or a guy who lies to children. I can have John Wall, who has a Black Power tattoo that he got in a hotel.
Okay,
that's my guy.
Playing the John Wall card this early is not fair. Just not fair. Yes, he's great. Okay, fine. But Kyrie just doesn't give a shit. That's why I like him. He just will say and do whatever the fuck he wants.
So do you think people are gonna go after Kyrie this year? Do you think there's a couple of guys out there that now that he's out from under LeBron's protection or wing or whatever, they're gonna like try and punk him a little bit?
Yeah, LeBron. I mean, yeah.
LeBron James is like, where do I sign up for this job?
It's just like, I want to see LeBron just do a Tracy McGrady and throw it off of the backboard from the elbow and then dunk on Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not going to happen, but yeah. Of course, if you're not playing with the best basketball player on the planet anymore, I mean, like, it's open season.
Who is the first team that's going to have issues this season where it's just like, yeah, maybe I don't like these guys like that I'm playing with? And
It's
there's
the Wolves.
Because there's a lot. The Wolves.
It's the Wolves.
No way.
I agree.
Wow.
It's
way.
the Wolves.
I'm with you.
Karl-Anthony Towns, like, and Andrew Wiggins the last 2 years have gotten all the touches they want.
Yeah.
Not only because they're the only offensive options, but because Rubio is like, I'm never going to shoot.
Right.
Pass. Now, not only can Jeff Teague take it in and will take it in, is not a pass first guy.
No one's worried about
But there's
Jeff
still,
Teague.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'm saying he's the least of their problems.
I feel like
He's the least of their problems. And then there's Jimmy Butler. Like, I'm telling you.
No,
guys,
I'm laughing
this
because
is
this is
different.
like the Tom Hanks Mr. Short-Term Memory man. Like, every time somebody tells me Jeff Teague is on the Timberwolves, I'm like, what?
Okay, no, I went to their game against the Lakers, their preseason game, and I like forgot, and then he like blew through the lane, and I was like, oh, Ricky Rubio's not doing that.
Yeah.
So you'll remember.
I agree with you with Butler though. Like he is like a contentious teammate. It seems like.
Well,
He's very aggressive. Yeah, he's like aggressive in the locker room. Remember last year with all the young guys, like they got in all that trouble because he was like it was effort issues, and like Andrew Wiggins, the one thing that we keep bringing up with him are effort issues.
Right.
I think they're just used to this now, though. They've been institutionalized by Tibbs yelling at them for a year straight that they're so gun shy that they're not going to say anything to Jimmy.
Yeah, there's the Timberwolves, which is a surprising suggestion. I also think that
The Rockets.
We
the
just can't rule out
Rockets,
the
like
Rockets.
the CP3 Chris Paul thing is,
I mean-
CP3 Harden thing is just like,
Having the two of them share touches and also D'Antoni wanting to run, like, push the pace when Harden is best when he gets to slow it down and, like, embarrass people one-on-one. I don't know how, like, that's going to, like, work.
yeah. Also, Chris Paul is a total killjoy. and
Total
James Harden likes to
killjoy.
go out every
James
night.
Harden likes to go to the strip club.
The first time and they lose, and he's just like, "Well, I'm out. It's the buffet is open." Like it's just not gonna work out down there. Maybe.
What I have my fingers crossed hoping is when Houston got Dwight, everybody in Houston was like super fucking pumped about it.
Yeah.
And then it all fell apart. That's what I'm
That's
hoping.
what you're hoping
That's
for?
what I'm hoping for. Again.
What about the Warriors? Do you think that they could have any? Like, is it how much longer can the peace and harmony and utopia last there?
That's a good question. It seems
I was kind of hopeful when Steph didn't go to the Vegas celebration.
could be like a fight there.
Yeah, that there was like, oh, is there problems there?
It's very hard to be against Steph anymore. Like there's just what's bad to say about Steph Curry.
I don't know.
So like
I'm coming up empty.
He's not
Yeah.
tall enough.
He's not tall enough.
Yeah, seriously.
don't want to shop at Target and like be bashed over the head with that Aisha Curry stuff. Like no, like I think that like he was like underrated in their success last year in some ways because KD
Yeah.
is such a dominant finals, but Curry is like the constant that keeps them at the kind of like the baseline of excellence. I think.
Are you surprised that no one has flipped out at Draymond?
On the Warriors?
Just like in general, like don't you think Draymond's kind of like gotten a pass? Like in the 80s or 90s, I feel like Draymond would have been in like 3 fights a year.
Well, that's because he's only doing the stuff to guys that he knows he can do it to.
Yeah.
He's not doing it to
Smart fighter.
to DeMarcus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He'll do it to.
I just realized I would pay $200 for pay-per-view to watch them try.
Yeah.
After Kyrie and LeBron, like what's like the best like personal beef that's left? It's hard. It's really hard. I think that
Damian Lillard versus his Twitter followers.
that's a good one.
It's like all of us, though.
That's a good one.
I want Giannis KD to be a thing this year. Just because, like, that was the best part of the All-Star game last season is when Giannis dunked on Steph, like, 2 times in a row and KD started going at Giannis and they started going at each other. I want, like, that to happen again at some point this season.
I feel like also the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is just seeing actually weirdly Chris Paul and Doc Rivers and seeing like Doc Rivers like just screaming at refs for an hour and a half and like you know that like Chris Paul's just gonna be like shut up like to him at some point because he hasn't been able to do that for years.
Or Chris Paul against Austin.
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
That's an underrated one.
Really good. I would like some internal team fighting though. Like
Well,
I'm sure you'll get it.
yeah.
just that's
I just want to see things
I think the
fall
regular
apart, you
season
know?
is the time of internal beef, and then
Yeah.
the postseason is the time of like we actually don't like this other team.
yeah. That's a good point.
But I think it definitely depends on whether or not like any of these other super teams like Oklahoma or or Houston wind up being as like competitive with the Warriors or not.
Right. The most explosive like internal team fight that you could have is Steph and KD, except first of all they're both like so kind of like flat in the media, like on intentionally. But the ramifications like that of like Under Armour versus Nike, so exciting. Like that's like kind of like the next frontier of like let's get our endorsements involved
sneaker
here.
beef?
Yeah, a
Pass.
sneaker beef. No?
No, I'm not here for corporate beefs between like
I don't know, man. Clay, a couple days ago, Clay was like talking about if he would take less money, and he was like, I don't know. KD makes a lot more off the court than I do. Like it all factors into it now.
Don't you think that was just like a thought that came into Clay's head and then just went out the other side? Like I don't think he was like, I'm gonna set up this chessboard.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Think about it though. You know.
What about rookies? Which rookies do you think will sort of like be
Oh,
part of this
yeah.
conversation next year? Like which rookies do you think will draw the ire of the NBA players? Which ones do you think might start stuff?
I
with
mean,
each other.
Anybody.
I mean,
Ben
like,
Simmons
I kind of want to
versus
see.
Markelle Fultz.
Well, Ben Simmons.
Wow.
Haley.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
Haley.
they're going to get really mad at each other.
Why?
Already, Ben Simmons, before they even drafted Markelle, he was like, well, I'm the point guard. So, like, everyone knows that. But it'd be great if we got Markelle, but I'm the point guard. They're going to get in a fight.
I like it. That's a good call. Also, we already have Lonzo versus De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited about Lonzo versus everybody.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
they all are coming for his neck.
Specifically excited about Lonzo versus De'Aaron Fox,
I think
though.
that Chris Paul is going to destroy Lonzo Ball one night. Like, I could see Chris Paul just being like, no, I'm not into this. And
I
just
love
like, it's like, you know, Chris Paul never shoots in the first quarter, and he
Not
puts up
into
like
that.
23 in the first quarter. And it's
He's
just
already
like,
adjusted his philosophy.
I'm not into
Shots
this.
there, I'm gonna take it.
All the veterans are going to want their first shot at Lonzo. I bet you every
They play
first
the
game
Clippers
against him is
first,
gonna be
right?
Great. Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I
Patrick
love that.
Patrick Beverly's taking his head off.
Yeah.
Taking his head off.
Friend of the ringer, Patrick Beverly.
Friend of the ringer.
Lonzo doesn't seem like he's going to react with, like, hatred or the things that usually spark beefs, though. He seems like he's really passive.
Yeah, he doesn't react.
It's not the problem. The
So,
problem is
it
his
is the
dad.
problem. Yeah.
His dad is the one who's going to be like,
It is
I'm
the
not
problem.
I'm not here to see Lonzo like play 20 minutes a game or whatever. It's definitely going to happen. Like, it's 100% going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
LeVar and Luke.
Yeah. LeVar and Luke, LeVar and Pelinka. Is there any like coach beef, any GM like issues, like any player GM player coach stuff that we're looking for?
What about Pop versus LaMarcus?
Yeah, that's going to be one for sure. But they tried to trade him the whole fucking last year.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. And now he knows it, and they all know it, and they're all going to hate each other.
I don't
And Rudy Gay, too.
No, Rudy Gay and Pop.
Yes.
You don't think that's going to work out?
No, he was already mad that Pop was talking about, I'm not going to bring you back. You know, he had the injury.
Yeah, the Achilles.
And he's like, you're going to go slow, and we won't see you for a bit. And he was already like, I want to come back right now.
So like the reason almost why this conversation is so relevant is that they've made changes to the All-Star weekend, and now the fans will vote. Then there's going to be the coaches selections, but then once they have the player pool, there will be team captains, and those captains are going to playground style pick their teammates. Someone will be last.
Kyrie.
Yes. If they make the teams, it'll definitely be Kyrie and Lillard. Like I'm actually willing to bet money on this now. I'm sure
It's definitely going to be Kyrie.
perked up.
The odds are up.
It's definitely going to be Kyrie because LeBron will be captain of the East. So there's no way he'll pick him. Unless he like...
Well, so it'll be LeBron. Let's say it's like LeBron and Durant are the two captains.
Okay.
Let's just have like a mental exercise right
I
here.
love it already.
Okay.
I'm already excited. I would pay $99 to watch it on paper.
I would definitely. This is way more interesting to me than Mayweather versus
Way more.
McGregor.
Yeah.
They definitely want this to be like
a
NBA
thing.
All-Star
Yeah.
Week now. Like they don't want it to just be like the 2 days. In fact, the All-Star Game is pretty much like the valley of the entire thing. Like it's
Yeah.
going up the entire time. So that's gonna be incredible. I just cannot wait to see Kyrie. Everyone like. When you're as woke as me, it doesn't matter if you get picked last because in a way you were picked first.
So
Popularity contests are not truth contests.
So last year, LeBron made it, but Melo, Wade, and CP3 did not. So I don't think the three of them will make it this year either. So it actually does make his first pick like a little bit harder. Like, and he could pick from either conference. Like there's a pool of 22 that he can pick from. So I think it's a little bit harder. Like Chris Paul would be my first guess, but I don't know because I don't think he'll make the All-Star team.
Like you want him to pick Russ, and then you want KD to pick Kyrie.
Yeah.
And then
I bet he would pick Russ. That's a good point.
Yeah.
There was also some
That's
people were
exactly
talking
what
about
happens.
how if it was KD was a captain and LeBron was a captain, that we would get Warriors versus Banana Boat. Like or like basically like KD could just like pick the Warriors that gets picked, and then like there would be like the All-Star team against the Warriors.
KD
essentially.
would
He would
pick
pick all the Warriors.
He
Yeah.
would- He would.
I hope he doesn't get picked captain, Russ.
Yeah.
And then they pick him like 5th in the thing. And then in a game in March, he shows up to the arena just dressed like a fucking gigantic 5. And then
People are like, "Why'd you do that?"
and he
he's
won't
just like,
admit
"No,
it.
no."
I just
just
felt like
I
wearing this
saw it
today.
on the streets of Lisbon and I thought it was cool. Why do you guys want to make it big
It was on the floor in between my bed and the door, so
Yeah.
I just put it on.